7, 3, 9.
Oh, I ran out of road. So we were not planning to film today, but then I peeked inside of the boxes for the GX1 and GX2, and I said, hey, Reamer, you gotta get the camera. We've gotta check these things out because these things are just way different than I expected. These are the newest scooters from Gotrax. When we think of Gotrax, we typically think of, these guys over here. These are, lightweight, kind of cheap and cheerful scooters that we've called before some of the best transportation per dollar that you can buy. Well, up until now, all Gotraxes have had one thing in common other than being designed in Madison, Wisconsin, and that's that they're all single motor. These are the very first dual motor Gotrax scooters ever, and it's pretty exciting, and they're just way different than I thought they were gonna be. The advantage of a dual motor scooter is that you can climb steeper hills without slowing down. But the disadvantage is that they are heavier and more expensive. And these weigh about twice as much as the scooter I just showed you. In terms of cost, the GX1 is $12.99 and the GX2 is $14.99. And we'll get into the different specs on them in a minute, but otherwise, looking at them, they look pretty similar, other than the GX1s all come in black and GX2s are all this sort of light gray color. So the size of these things are pretty huge. I mean, they're typical for a dual motor scooter, but not what we're used to seeing from Gotrax. I mean, I'm gonna grab the G3 Plus, which is a scooter we reviewed recently, and just kind of put it up next to it so you can get an idea. This is a whole other league of scooter, and then you can tell from the side there, and then just from the top, I mean, the deck is maybe 1.5 times as wide. And that shows up in the other details like this burly kickstand, thicker than the kickstand that we see on most scooters, or even bigger scooters than this. And it kind of continues everywhere, including the dual hydraulic shocks in the front end, and then it's got one in the back, and I'll talk about those more in a minute. So the setup is actually pretty quick. You just stand it up, latch the stem, and then attach the handlebars. Peel off the protective layer here. You hold the power button down, and then it requires a passcode, and I don't know if this is something we can disable or not. It's not my favorite thing to have to do every time I turn a scooter on. Use the plus to advance the numbers, the power button to advance it to the next digit. And once you got them all in there, double click, and your scooter's alive. It looks like we're probably in park mode, and I'm truly exploring the scooter with you right now. I don't even know how everything works yet, but we've got single motor and dual motor, and honestly, I'm not sure which one is single, which one's dual, with the blinking or the not blinking, but I assume that's what that means. And then we've got our modes. Let's see, oh, there we go. So plus is running us from, we've got M, D, and S. You always have to assume S is sport mode. And then we've got the lights. The lights are pretty cool. It's got this nice underglow there, adjustable light up high. We always like to see a nice light up high, and it's nice that it's adjustable, so you can, depending on if you're going faster, you're gonna wanna send this further down the road. And then it doesn't have an electronic horn, but it does have one of my favorite kinds of bells. They're really easy to use. They're right there. Your finger is always ready to grab it. And it's just a really nice sound for when you're around pedestrians and bikes. Cars aren't gonna hear this. There's also a USB port down here, and I don't know yet if this will charge your phone. Tune in for our full review to find out about that. And then it's got walk mode, this button right here. And I expected that was just gonna trigger it into walk mode on the dash, but look what happens. It actually starts walking when you push the button, so be ready for that. And then over here at the other side, it's got a thumb throttle, which I love, and it's a thumb throttle we've never seen before. It looks like a miniature version of the one on the Nami or the Wolf King GT. It's got a nice shape to it, and it's like smaller than the Nami and the Wolf King GT. It's set up for zero start right out of the box, so be ready for that, but it does have a park mode. So you have to exit park mode, and then you hit the throttle and it goes. Unlike the Nami and the Wolf King GT, there's not really any dead zone here. When I start moving this forward, You can see it barely moves before the throttle engages. So that's pretty promising for how this is gonna feel to ride. It's got some unusual grips. We haven't seen these before. They've got a nice texture to them. They're kind of firm rubber, but pretty good texture grip. And then what I love is their locking. They have these locks on either end of the grip that's gonna keep them from rotating when you're riding and keep those palm supports right where you want them. And then you look here and we've got our brake levers, and it's got dual disc brakes, which is I think also a first for Gotrax, but they're mechanical brakes, which is kind of what we'd expect from Gotrax. This is a kind of a value-based brand, so they're not gonna go nuts and put hydraulic brakes on their entry-level dual motor electric scooters. But in my experience, this kind of cable operated disc brake works pretty well. Something I'm excited about for entry-level dual motor scooters is that these have dual hydraulic shocks, actually dual on the front and another one in the back. And that's a nice surprise at this price point. Again, this one's about $1,300. The other thing I love about this is that they're mounted outside of the wheel. They're not in here. So normally when you put them in here, it's like putting a shock inside of a nutcracker. It's just too much force for these little shocks to handle. When you put them out here, they are moving much further and there's a lot less force on them. And it means that the hydraulic shocks can really do some good work out here. Also, putting them outside the wheel lets you pull the wheel further back and you get a more compact scooter, but with all the same functions. Let's see how they work. I can really feel the hydraulics in the front. In fact, you can hear the hydraulics in the front. Hear it? Now that sound will probably settle down. If I jump, the wheels don't bounce up off the ground. And that's kind of what I'm looking for with hydraulic shocks, is that they have enough damping that the springs aren't just bouncing the scooter back up off the ground. So these guys also make e-bikes now too, and you can kind of tell that looking at these handlebars. They have a really cool taper from the middle to the edge, just like a mountain bike. And I don't know, there's something about that shape I just really like. All right, so in terms of specifications, what do we get for $1,299 and $1,499? Well, we get a 720 watt-hour battery over here and 960 watt-hours over here, so about 33% more battery. It's specified at 35 miles per hour for the GX2 and 30 for the GX1. Range-wise, they claim 25 miles of range from the GX1 and as many as 40 from the GX2. Our calculations would put it more like at 21 or 22 and maybe 25 miles from the GX2, but we'll find that out when we do our testing for our full review. Power in the GX1 comes from dual 600 watt motors and the GX2 dual 800 motors. They both come with the same 3 amp charger, so this one's got a 5-hour charging time and 7 hours for the GX2. And contrary to both of their spec sheets online right now, these both really look like they have tubeless tires on them. The spec sheets say tubed, but what I'm seeing are 10-inch by 3-inch tubeless on both scooters, which are good because they're less prone to pinch flats if you hit a hard edge when you're riding. Speaking of riding, I think it's time to go ride. All right, so we've got the tires aired up, and I've learned 2 more things about the scooters. One is there's no app, and the other is that the USB port does charge my phone, so that's a plus. All right, let's go ride. I'm gonna start with the less powerful of the 2 first, the GX1. All right, so I'm almost fully charged. I'm in park mode, and to get out, I'm gonna have to hit the little plus button here, and then go all the way up to sport mode, and let's give it a go. Whoa, a little tire spin. That was unexpected.
And indicated 30 miles per hour. And this is definitely not an official speed run, but let's see. 25, 27, 28, 29.
Oh, I ran out of road. Okay, now I got the wheels blinking here. It's not single motor and dual motor, so let's find out what it does. Is it any different? Oh, I think blinking is faster.
Speed. We'll confirm this when we do the real testing. Oh yeah, I'm already at 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. Yeah, for sure, blinking wheels is the quicker speed. Okay. Yeah, we'll have to see about those brakes. Okay, so that's not bad. I can't believe this is the slower of the 2. So now let's check out the GX2 and see what that's all about. So 600 watts per wheel and 800 watts per wheel. Let's see how it feels.
And then, okay, drive, sport mode, blinky wheels. We're in full go mode. Let's check it out.
It's like, that's not bad. Okay. Get a corner here. Pretty good. Okay, see, this was not squeaking sync brakes, so I think we just need to do a little tweak on the other one.
This is fun. The throttle is like fast but manageable. Like I can mash it in the middle of a corner and the front wheel doesn't spin, but then it kind of picks up and goes. So I feel like you've done a really good job with the motor controllers on this, just making it like really rideable, but still, you know, nice and fast. So it's not like crazy barn burner hard to ride, but like some pretty satisfying speed. And I'm seeing 31, miles per hour before I ran out of space there. So we'll find out the true top speed when we do the speed test. But it's looking pretty good so far. I'm really enjoying these scooters and I can't wait to do the full test. So definitely get subscribed so you won't miss it when we come out with our full review on Gotrax's first ever dual motor electric scooters, the GX1 and GX2.